A lot of people come up to me and they're like, Donnie, what's the deal with Drake and Kendrick Lamar? And I'm going to be honest with you, I was hoping not to have to come out and talk about this stuff because basically I'm responsible for the whole thing. You know, I met Drake before he was famous. You know, came up to me on the street, was like, "Hey Donnie," I was like, "Hey Drake," and he was like, "Donnie, I respect you," and I'm like, "I understand that." And he was like, when I look at you, I see a guy who's going to have power and influence when he sets up his YouTube channel in about 10 or 11 years. And I would say you're probably going to be one of the largest YouTube channels in the world and probably one of the top 99 percentiles of channel prescribers. And I was like, you're probably right. I can definitely see that happening. And he said, I've written a song and I'm hoping to get your feedback on it. And I said, sure, that's fine. And so he took out his mandolin and he started playing me the song. And I was, he saw the look on my face when he finished and he was like, what's up? And I'm like, you are not good at the mandolin. And he's like, I'm not. And I said, no. And he was like, well, what about my dreams about becoming a country and western singer? And I said, you should probably give that up like today because that's not happening. And he looked like he was going to cry. And I finally just said, I mean, don't get me wrong. I hear a quality there. It's just that quality really needs to be covered up with a lot of auto tune. And, you know, he was like, I don't know. He seemed hesitant. And I said, Drake, look at me. And so he gave me a good long look, head to toe. And I said, what do you see? And he thought about it for a minute. And he finally just said, I see the living embodiment of hip hop culture. And I said, that's right. So do what I say, bitch. And to be honest with you, I feel like it worked out. I feel like he really had some early success there. He did okay. Um, and then I met Kendrick a few years later when I was vacationing in Compton. He was doing stuff with macrame at the time, beautiful stuff. And I really liked it. But I said to him, Kendrick, you know, I don't know about this. I don't think you're going to make a lot of money at this. And he's like, no. And I'm like, no. Because when you reach the top of the macrame ladder, there's not a lot of cash up there. And he's like, well, what do you suggest? And I said to him, hip hop. Because honestly, when it comes right down to it, there's just two things I suggest to people when they're looking for career opportunities, which is like hip hop or crypto, because you have a chance to make it big in both of them. And once again, worked out, you know, and I introduced him to Drake, and he and Drake would come over to my house and they'd play on the slip and slide together. And one day I was just kind of like, hey, you know what would be funny? What if you two guys did like a rap battle thing? And Kendrick was a lot more into that than Drake was. And before I knew it, it had started and it really escalated very quickly. And, you know, Drake got more and more upset about it. You know, he'd come over to my house. He'd be like, I don't understand what's going on. And I'm like, I know. It's almost like he doesn't respect you. And he just seemed so lost and forlorn. He would turn to me and he would say, Donnie, don't you have a wife or something I could sleep with? And I'm like, no, I don't really know how to get one of those. And he would leave as depressed as when he came. And I reached out to him finally after, you know, a little while of this. And I was like, you just need to kick back and relax. You need to abandon all your cares, have some beers with some guys. You know, I got some hot dogs over here. Why don't you come over and we'll watch the Super Bowl together? So that was a mistake. because no amount of jalapeno poppers could console him. And I haven't seen him since. I mean, he just completely disappeared. I saw him pop up in the news when he sued his record company. I was like, this is some weird behavior. And, you know, the reason I'm doing this video is I saw that Charlie Kirk got shot. I mean, I'm not saying that the two are connected in any way, but with the way that the YouTube algorithm works, I kind of think I should have probably mentioned Charlie Kirk a lot more in this video.